I'm moving forward every day, Jesus. I just let him lead the way every second, every minute, every hour of the day. I'm moving with Jesus every day. 24/7 with Jesus every day. 24/7. I'm moving with Jesus. I'm moving with Jesus every day.
The book of Esther remains the only book in the Bible where the name of God is never mentioned. Yet it is difficult to read these sacred pages and not see the hand of God, even though he is behind the scenes. I suppose that is because though God is behind the scenes, he is just as visible and as powerful as if he is on the stage. This could perhaps be a fitting way to describe the testimony and the life of our guest today on JC 24/7. We want to welcome Mr. Kenrick Bernard to JC 24/7.
Amen.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And let's get to the heart of your story as we discuss You Should Be Alive. And this is a two-part series because your story is amazing, and I see how God has been behind the scenes with respect to your life. So give us a little synopsis as to what your life has been, maybe when you were back home in Toko, Mission Toko.
Okay, I thank God for being here. Amen. It's a privilege to know God as my Savior and Lord, and it's a privilege to present to the nation or to the people of this great testimony of my life. God has kept me from my very childhood to this present day. But I would like to say that in my childhood, I've been abused as a child. I was born in Mission.
You said you were abused. What do you mean by being abused?
Being abused sexually.
Sexually.
Being abused physically.
And this is how old?
I was around 5 to 6 years. Around 6 years, you see. And
this abuse was a continuous thing?
it was so often, and I tried to run from it because I was staying with my godparents, which was a married couple, but it was elderly people,
Right.
and I was living with them.
Okay.
So my mother left me there because of my father abuse to her.
Okay.
She was to run.
Wow.
And could not take me with her.
Wow.
So she tried to explain me to the best of her knowledge, which I didn't understand, but I had no other choice but to accept.
Right.
She told me I'll have to leave you with your godparents because you realize I cannot take you where I'm going.
Right.
And what she was saying to me is that I will be a weight. She cannot move because she have to run from my father, which was an abusive man.
Wow.
So taking me from Balandra, carrying me to Mission,
Okay.
right, when I was around 5 years old,
Right.
right, and this abuse started around 6. And in so doing, I couldn't take it anymore. This day, my godfather, who I was staying with, was going to the bush. He do this normal task work.
Right.
In going to the bushes, he tell me go down the road and buy some bread for him, which is in those days was about a penny for 2 bread. And I went down the road to buy the bread because I wanted to escape the man that is next door.
Wow.
Because when my godfather would leave me alone because my godmother went out,
Right.
so I'll be home alone.
Oh.
So he will, because reasons of this, I went into his parlor when I was, he left it open
Right.
as a sort of trap.
Okay.
And seeing sweetie in it, I decided to get in to
Okay.
get the sweetie without his knowing. And
Okay.
he stayed in the shop because he set it up in a way so when I get in, he will hold me.
Wow.
You understand? So I wasn't able to do anything because he would say, we call the police. And that he keep on doing that over and time again.
Well, that's how the abuse started.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Because of the sweetie. I was
Okay.
attracted to it in his parlor. So he
Right.
left the door open, at least the window because it was low. And I went through the window. And in going through the window, he didn't wait until I reached right down. He knows inside his parlor is.
Right.
And he pulled me down,
Right.
And it started a couple of times, and I started get sick. And I did afraid to tell my godparent. You understand? So this day that my godmother went out, and my godfather was going to the bush. He gave me this money. I said to go and buy this bread. I went to buy the bread and didn't come back on time. Whereby, so he and all was abusive. He met me part of the way with the cutlass looking for me because he was hungry.
Right.
And I eat out the pet of the bread on the inside. And when I hand him the bread, he realized, well, I gave you to buy bread. Where's the bread? It have nothing in it. But I was hungry too, so I eat the pet of the two bread inside. But those hops bread in those days was big.
All right, yes.
So it have a soft part.
Right.
So I eat out that inside. So in so doing, he lift up the cutlass because he had his poya in his hand. Lift it up to plan and smooth it, and I breaks.
Wow.
And by breaks, you know, I got this chop here on my hand. The hand got a drop. And when he saw it, he dropped the cutlass, grabbed his jersey, put his jersey, wrapped the hand, and took me to the health center in Toko. And I couldn't say anything because he done threatened me already. If I say anything, what he would do, so I kept myself silent.
Right.
But I escaped the other fellow who was looking to do me wrong also.
So both of them were threatening you?
Yeah, both of them threatened me on one side and another.
I tell you.
But I had no mother or no father there to look after me or to watch over me.
Right.
Yes,
Where was your father at this time?
My father, I didn't know where he was. He disappeared like a ghost. You know.
You never saw your father?
I saw my father once. That's the time when he struck my mother.
Okay. With
When we
what?
were living in Balandra.
When you say he struck your mother, with what?
With a joking board. You know those boards they scrub clothes with? Right.
Okay. Why would he have done that?
Well, he was an abuser. He came and she did prepare food for him, but he didn't like the food that she made.
Wow.
Which he was expecting to receive, like a broth or something, but she made a bake, which was the quickest thing, and a big cup of juice.
Right.
When he came from the forest, he was a man who used to cut logs. So when he came from the forest, and she said, well, look here, I'm thinking eat that until later. He said, he started to use his phrase.
Right.
And he said, well, this you a big strong Mike, man. She was outside washing, so she just pulled away pitched the big basin ahead. And, well, first he hit her with the basin, you know, the big basin, the clothes. And when he hit her with the basin first, the enamel in the basin started crack.
Wow.
You know, because those basins was big. So he just hold it and rest it on her head. When she fall down, then he take up the joking board. And so the lady had us to run.
Wow.
But I still hated her because she just ran by. Running now, she take me and drop me in mission. That's how I went to mission.
So if she had run with you, she
Yeah,
didn't run with
she
you.
would have run with me. But
Okay.
instead of, and when she left me in mission, she told me while she have to run, she said, I will come back and look for you. But the part I hated my mother for, she never looked back.
Wow.
And I saw my mother many, many years after.
Oh.
She never came back. But why I believe, when I was grown, I think that why she had never came back, because she tell herself she meet with him again, because he used to be regularly in that area selling banana every so often, which I will never lucky to see him. You understand? And the day that my godmother told me he was around, and I saw him, was to buy a little sneakers. The sneakers was around 99 cents. So I went to him.
And what, the butter?
Yeah, butter bullet.
Butter
I used to
bullet,
call them that time.
Okay.
I went to him to get the sneakers, and in so doing, he tell me, look, boy, wait until I coming back here, sir. I can't think I know about buying bananas. I can't really see about you and this sneakers. Don't worry, you'll get one. But when I went back by my godmother's under the house to really get the goat and tie them out, my godmother said, look at what this father passing me the van there. You know. So I let go the goat and I go and run it down the van up on a little hill, which he didn't stop. He continued to drive the van faster.
Okay.
And I looking in the rear view, I could see watching me in the rear view, and I tell myself by running down the van, throwing myself on the ground, he will have some kind of pity and stop. The man drove faster and went his way, and I never really see him again. That is the time that I had this problem and I had to come to Kumana.
Right.
When I had the confrontation with my godfather who chopped me, then my mother came and brought me to Kumana. That's how I came to Kumana to live.
Wow.
And with an ex-abusive one,
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
that one is my aunt's husband.
Wait.
They were living inside a place they call Muro. And in living there, he was abusive. He had a donkey and plus he had this colt. So I used to have to go and, you know, because the donkey just made the colt, I have to go and look for grass, you know, to bring for the colt. And sometimes a little fella, I look in the bush, look in the river for crayfish because they didn't cooking regularly. They had no gardening thing. So I used to eat my little raw crayfish for food, you know, suck cocoa and thing for food. If it had mango, well, I'm glad because it had mangoes. Because the area had plenty mangoes when mango season. So mango used to be my lunch wherever I find a bunch of fig I will eat. They used to hardly cook food really because when they went in there to live, it take them a while before the garden produce started to come. So it was very hard. When he come back and he say I ain't cut grass for the donkey, he will either put me on a grater to kneel down with two big stones in my hand. And sometimes he'll pull his mamu. He used to soak it in pea especially to put licks on me. My back used to be in a
For the sake of our audience, what is mamu?
Mamu is a thing that they make basket with in the olden time. I don't know if they use it now. But in those days, that's the thing they use. It's a thing in the forest. It's a vine that you cut. It's very, very strong. It bend and don't break.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, and you'll soak that in urine.
Yeah, it will soak that in urine, you know. And by soaking it in urine, every time when I say soak it, he'll come and throw the urine on it every time. So by getting that, you know, it will get really thing. So when he hear, you know, it will make that sort of song. And when he rests that on my back, I will flinch. And sometimes he do it while I'm on the grater.
Mercy.
It's 2 stone. So I have no other choice.
So how long would you like, on average, how long would you be on the grater kneeling?
Maybe about 5 minutes. And pain. And I can't really bow.
You can't do anything.
And he right there. So it's every now and then until when I can't take it no more, jump off the grater and run and hide. I can't come inside for days.
For days, they say, you know?
Yeah, days. I can't come inside. I all in the bush like a dwen, all about the bush. I have to eat a little. That's how I managed to be eating the crayfish, and you know, because I will come home, and my aunt, I know he go in the bush. He was a hunter, so he liked to go and sit down for deer and what have you. So when I know he go into the bush, you know, I will hear his because after that while the colt got big, good size, so he used to go with the colt and the donkey, he ride the donkey and go in the bush. And when he go on sentry, I will come to my aunt and whatever little scraping one thing I used to get from her, she used to make that, they had cassava. So they used to make a thing they call cassava bread. So she will give me cassava bread and I will eat that. She will make farine. But other than that, it's just mostly cassava and yam we had in the bush there to eat.
So let me get it straight. You were abused by at least 4 men in your life, from what I understand. Your father, by his negligence, your godfather, the shopkeeper, and your uncle.
Wow. Well, he was, I would say my uncle because he was my aunt's husband. And when my mother left me, she left me with my aunt. But he, remember, he's the man of the house.
Of course.
So he's the one that has to provide, and he couldn't see himself providing for me. I'm not his son. I have no family there. So so doing, he was abusive to me. He never had children.
Good. Let's hold right there. The abuse continues when we return with JC 24/7.
Just one sin, seeking forgiveness when your heart knows within. Oh, God will not judge us on how big or how small. He reached for Calvary's blood to cover just one drop of his precious blood covered it all. The blood, it all. Love has no boundaries since death paid in full. Jesus knew in the beginning that man would surely fall. I'm glad the Savior's precious blood covered it I'm glad the Savior's precious
I'm here with Kenrick Bernard, who really, based on what we've heard so far, should not be alive to tell the story, but God was actively involved in his life. As we continue this story, this sordid part of the story about the abuse, let me recap. You were abused by at least 4 men.
Yes.
Your godfather, your father, the shopkeeper, and now your aunt's husband. How long did that abuse continue?
Well, the abuse continued was about 2 years.
2 years.
Because I think I was about 8 years when that
Right.
thing, 8 going into 9 years.
Right.
And the thing about it is that while we were living there, and this abuse, he was out in the village. He went to buy something in the shop and met with these white folks that they had a beach house. That's on the Kumana Road there, to go into Kumana
Right.
Road. And it so happened that they was looking for somebody to see, which is like an overseer, somebody to watch the place.
Right.
So he was in place. That they asked him, well, if he will be the caretaker, and he decided, well, I think somebody recommended him to be the caretaker, and he became the caretaker.
Okay.
So by becoming the caretaker of the place, he decided to move out there, which was most comfortable. It had convenience. So he was moving out from the bush where we were. So I feel most happy because I wouldn't be abused there as much people. It's a more brighter place, so he was able to do me what he was continuing to do.
Right.
And when he came out there, after a little while, the owner of the place came up, which was a short time, maybe months after he came up. And the lady who was Mrs. Whitehead, who was the owner of the place together with her husband, George Whitehead, the lady said, but who son or who child is that? And he said, well, look, that's Sylvia child, that's my sister's son.
Right.
She said, does he go to school? She said, no, we cannot send him to school because we're not able to buy clothes and things like that. She said to her, well, could you give him away to us? She said, sure, we cannot take care of him. When I heard that, I was glad. You know, I'm not knowing that I go in again from the fire, from the frying pan into the fire.
Wow.
That time when the lady said that, she said, well, we will carry him down. But I'm glad to go at whatever little thing I had at the time, you know, which was still clothes that my aunt made for me,
Right.
you know, like little shirts she tuck up with her hands and what have you. And whatever little I had, they put it in a paper bag, you know, those handle bags.
Right.
And thinking that they would have come in the evening.
Right.
They didn't come in the Saturday evening, they come back for me the Sunday evening.
Right.
And when they come back late in the night, so around after 7.
Right.
So when I was going to the Go Martin with them, I didn't know where I was going. As a little fella, I drop asleep. As I get in the car and reach a certain way,
Yes.
I fall asleep, only to know when I wake up. Now I wake up in the Go Martin
Right.
by these colored folks. Well, it's
Right.
white folks, Trinidad white.
Right.
And
And you had never been to Digo Martin before?
no,
Okay.
I never been nowhere but Toko. That's the bush. I know it's nowhere about anywhere.
I do apologize for laughing, but I understand what you're saying. Right?
Yes, no, I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I never been anywhere.
Right.
It's only just abusive life and just.
So even if you were still up, you would not have known how to get back anyway.
How to get back anyway.
Yeah, okay.
You understand? Even if I was, but still, they didn't take the chance by carrying me in the day.
Daytime, okay.
They carried me down in the night, and when they carried me in the night, they show me a little room downstairs. They could see like nobody been in the room for quite a long time because it's full of cobweb and it's in a mess. So well, they'll sleep there. So make it long short, they help them take out whatever they had to take out in the car, all this stuff, pack it upstairs, and they say, this downstairs. Okay, I open the room, they put on the light from upstairs, and I see it in a dusty state, a little bunk on it. Well, I went to bed in the morning. When I get up, they show me all what I have to do, clean the yard and cut the yard and fix the fence and different things they showed me. I talk about a little fella just out 9 years.
Okay.
So they showed me all what I have to do. And as time go by now, I needed clothes, but they didn't give me no clothes from the store. They never sent me to no school. And the clothes I used to wear was the white man clothes, and he was fat. So I had to wear his clothes. I started to tie it up, you know.
Wow.
Put either a piece of string. In those days we had twine. Well, you know, we still had twine.
Right.
So I used to, when they come with the market, it goes from the box.
Right.
You know, I used to take the twine where they cut off the box. You know, the groceries.
Right.
So I had the twine, right? I cut that and I make my belt with that, put it around my waist so that I used to hold my pants. The fellow was
So
he.
your clothes was his clothes?
Yeah, well, his clothes was my clothes. So to correct it, his clothes was my clothes.
Okay. So everything he had was yours?
Yes.
Even the underwear, everything?
Yeah, well, I never know nothing about underwear until I come big.
Okay.
Because his pants, I didn't have no need for underwear.
Okay.
So I used to.
I hear you loud and clear.
You know,
Right.
it's the first time that I really, I live with my wife, I live with my children, and I've never told them some of these things I'm saying.
I hear you.
Reasons of this is the first time that I really have times that when I think about it, it brings tears to my eyes, you know, any kind of suffering that I've been through. And I trust God that those who have parents and who, you know, mothers and fathers, that their father will be watchful for them, take care of them, send them to school, which my father, he was, I don't know how to describe the man, but he left me, abandoned me and go, and my mother did the same. I hated my both parents.
You never saw your father again after?
No. When I do remember about them is when I become a big man. I talk about a big man in my 30s. Then I saw one of my sister living at the planning in Mover.
Right.
There are 4 stories. And she told me about my father.
Right.
Right, for me to go and see him. And I said, sister, I am not going to see my father. I don't want to see about it. I don't want to see him. I don't want to hear about him. I don't want to hear his name.
Wow.
So I hated my father.
Right.
I hated my mother.
Okay.
Reasons of this is that although she had explained me, she couldn't go with me.
Right.
I still had hated my mother. I feel, even though whatever he was going through. But it's when I become a big man and I accepted Christ, then I realized that my mother couldn't really take me. I forgive my mother, you know, after when I become a Christian.
Right.
But for the early stage of my life, I hated my 2 parents.
Wow. When was the second time you saw her? Or when was the time you saw her after the incident and she left you?
Well, it's some years after when I become a big man.
Big man as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, a young man then.
Yeah.
And I met this lady in Port of Spain, and the lady, like, she could remember my feet here.
Right.
Even though when she saw me as a child, she stand up. I saw the lady watching me for a long period of time, so I started, I ain't that attractive. Why this lady, you know, keep on looking at me? I started to feel uncomfortable. I started to see something wrong with me.
The lady's looking at you? What's
Yeah,
wrong
but
with
the
you?
lady just keep on staring at me.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and I wanted to know. And then again, too, I discussed because she wasn't young. She was a lady in her mid-age. So seeing that lady watching at me, you know, I started to feel kind of how. But then eventually she realized I started to feel uncomfortable. So she walked to me and said, "You's not Sylvia's son?" I said, "Yes." I said, "You know my mother?" She said, "Quite well." She said, "That was my schoolmate." I said, "Okay." She said, "Well, when last you saw her?" Well, then I started explaining to her I haven't seen her for a long time. She said, "I know where your mother lives, you know. She lives in Oropuch.
Okay.
And that's how.
Which, Vega?
Vega de Oropuch.
Okay.
There's a road in there. I forget the name of the road, but it's in the village part,
Right.
you know, in Vega de Oropuch.
That's close to Grande.
Yes. And she was living inside there. And in a place they call Hajem Barracks. It was an estate. Because the man who she got involved with, which is my sister's father,
right.
he was an ex-abuser.
Oh, Lord.
Who she got involved with. He had a wife, a married wife, and he had sons and daughters. But he had my mother, as his concubine on the outside. He put her to live in a barracks. Right. This barracks now, my mother is at work. So when I went up, when I get to find out where this time I was around 17, 18 years.
Right.
I didn't stay long with my mother again because I couldn't stand how she been treated. I went and looked for her. Yes, I went and looked for her. And going to look for her when the lady directed me and gave me a written thing. I couldn't even read it because I couldn't read. Mercy God.
Wow.
And she gave me the thing. She said, this is her address. So I went and asking people, well, give me, I have this paper here, could tell me where this is. And I showed them the paper. They would read it and say, well, look, she's living in, whatever, when I reached in Sandy Grande, you know. It took me a while because in those days I had to travel with bus.
Right.
And with bus, it was cheap.
Right.
It wasn't much money. And I went to look for her. Eventually, I found her where she was living. Right. And I saw her living in this barracks.
How was that experience when you met her?
Well, when I met her, I didn't greet her with no greeting because I hated her.
Right.
I didn't greet her with no kind of love thing or right. I had this sort of hate in my heart towards my mother.
And you wanted to tell her that?
I told her that.
Okay.
I told my mother, I hate you. And
so
she
you went
said,
all the way to Vega to tell your mother you hate her?
No, I didn't tell her at that time.
Okay.
But after a while, I told her that. And she said, boy, what I will tell you? But she said the thing. What troubled me is when she dropped the tone of voice. She said, boy, what I will tell you? And I could see my mother had loved me because, but she had no other choice.
Right.
But to go that way.
Very good. Kenrick, we have to begin to wind this up because we have to continue this thrilling testimony. But in your closing remarks, I wanted to share with the viewing audience, what do you think was major or contributed a lot to where you had gone and the life you had lived? What factors were responsible for, taking you from Mission to Kumana and to Diego Martin, with all the abuse? What
I truly believe that was on the point of negligence of my parent.
Okay.
Because my father was supposed to be a father indeed, was supposed to be a priest of the house.
Right.
Firstly, he was abusive to my mother.
Right.
And because of his abuse, my mother was to run from him.
Right.
And I blame him 100% because of his negligence and abusing my mother, caused my mother to run and forsake me. So I hold him most responsible as any man, as a father who will leave their children or who will beat their parents and beat the wife and cause the wife to leave and go. So the child, you're beating the child too, so the child gets to run. So I find that is very, very,
you are saying that there is a specific role which fathers
fathers supposed to play
in playing in people's lives.
Parentage.
Okay. Well, we are all out of time, but certainly not out of testimony. You need to join us for the second part of this thrilling testimony given by Kenrick Bernard. In the meantime, remember, if Jesus has set you free, you are free indeed. But he's not just here to set you free. He wants to make you free, so that even if you are in prison, the chains that would have bound you can fall off. You need to join us next time on JC 24/7 with Kenrick Bernard. Amen. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Looking to see you next time.
Thank you for viewing JC 24/7. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and remember to inspire your living as you prepare for heaven. You can get it all on JC 24/7.